Good morning, you lot. Right, this wasn't a pair of speakers I was going to do a video on. So this is a pair of Ditton 662s, kind of the successor to the Ditton 66. So Celestion went through a stage after finishing with the normal Dittons to doing kind of a reboot range, if you like. So you had things like, instead of the Ditton 33, you had the 332. If I've got a picture, I'll put it in now. And then instead of the Ditton 44, you had the Ditton 442. I think I've got a picture of those. If I have, I'll put it in now. You had the Ditton 551, which was, I quite like those speakers, but it had the L-pad adjustment for the tweeter and the mid-range. And then you had these, the really big 662s. Same sort of lineup as the Ditton 66. You had a tweeter playing pretty high up from, I think, about 4 kilohertz upwards. A mid-range driver playing but down to about 500 hertz, 600 hertz. 12-inch woofer and a 12-inch passive bass radiator. So these have been brought in to initially check them, and there is issues with them, which my client was aware of, hence why they're here. Crossovers are definitely going to need rebuilding, but there's a substantial issue with this one. The mid-range is very dipped, and this mid-range is full of distortion. But the mid-range drivers don't look right to me. These look newer. I'm quite familiar with this mid. It's used in the 551 as well, but the suspension doesn't look right, the dome doesn't look right. Also, the Celestion badge or little emboss here should be at the bottom, and it is on the other. And this woofer is upside down as well, so they've probably just been rotated at some point. The other one doesn't measure too badly. In fact, I'll put in the measurements of that one now, but it does have a bit of a peak in the mid-range, which doesn't look right. So if I put the measurement in of this one, you'll see how dipped out the mid-range is, which to me looks like this is simply connected out of phase, but this is full of distortion as well, so I'll put those measurements in now. And just to make it easier, here's a comparison of the two. So they're only crude measurements done quickly. Ignore everything from 300 or 400 hertz downwards. Yeah, so I need to strip them both down and see what's going on. Right, let's take a look inside. So hopefully you can see that okay. This woofer has been rotated. This is the wrong way round. The dome doesn't look right, the suspension doesn't look right. There is marks around the edge to suggest that these have been pulled out. The gasket material goes all gooey and sticks these in. You may have seen in previous videos my method of getting these out. Don't lever them out, you'll just destroy the chipboard around. If you can't get a screwdriver in there at an angle and pull on these, then I tap a thread in this chassis underneath the screw, and then I can sort of lever them up. But let's take it all apart and see what we find. All these screws, some of them are rounded off. We have a repair in our woofer there as well. Normally you can put a screwdriver in and wedge and pull like that. So there's our passive bass radiator. Literally one of these with no motor on the back of it. That's it. So yeah, we have a repair that's been done there, and pretty well. Right, let's take the woofer out. So once you get one of the drivers out, you can at least get underneath and push up. The tweeters are particularly fragile. If you undo these screws and then pull up, you can rip the faceplate off. So thankfully both tweeters are doing what they should do, so I'm not going to disturb them. When I do the crossovers, I can find the wiring behind and reconnect to that. So really naffy wiring, this steel stuff, push fit connectors which oxidize, degrade the signal path. We don't want that. So we have a piece of foam here with our crossover behind it. Oh no, sorry, the crossover's behind the base radiator. That's not original. So we know they've been tampered with. And there's our crossover, yeah, just all original components. Right. Let's see if we can take the mid out. That's a good sign. The mid-range has been connected out of phase, so positive and negative are the wrong way round, which is the reason why we got that dip. So that's good. That's very, very good. But it doesn't explain the distortion. That could be the crossover. We'll check the mid-range on its own. But yeah, I was hoping to see that, so that's really good. So we got the positive on there. The orange is the positive. If there's any drivers that are connected on purpose out of phase, it's done at the crossover, not at the driver. So that's good. So the tweeter I'm going to leave well alone. Right, crossover has the big plug on it, and we have a fuse for the high frequency as well. There's two things you can do with a fuse. It's not the ideal thing for the signal to run through to your tweeter. You can bypass it, but then you do have the risk of potentially blowing the tweeter. The other thing you can do is bypass it with a resistor, so something like a 10 ohm resistor, a really good quality resistor. So you'll allow a much cleaner transfer, but if the fuse blows, that 10 ohm resistor comes straight into effect and heavily attenuates the output of the tweeter. So there's a couple of ways of doing it, and I think I will probably put a resistor across it rather than delete the fuse. So let's take the crossover out and we can have a look. But yeah, I'm pleased we found that problem. So just to confirm, on our other speaker the mid-range is connected correctly. So that's the reason why we had the dip, which is what it looked like. Someone has recapped this one, partly. But the other is original. Okay, that's sort of beginning to add up. Right, at the desk of the squeakychair.com, These are our two mid-range drivers. So we saw that the one from what I'm calling the right hand speaker was connected reverse polarity. So that explains the big dip in the response that we were getting. I'll put the comparison up again so you can have a look. Yeah, so that makes complete sense. And when I looked at that initially, the first thing that came to mind was that mid has been connected out of phase, which, yeah, it's going to make quite a difference when you listen to these. So what I want to do is impedance sweep both of these, because it also sounded like this right hand mid has quite a bit of distortion in it. Could be down to the crossovers, I'm not completely convinced. So if I impedance sweep them, I'll be able to hear both of them as well and just see how they're both tracking together. So let's look at what we think is the good one. So I'll give it a couple of goes. Yep. Okay, so what I'll do is memorize that one, and then we'll see how the other compares. Yeah, that sounds dreadful. I mean, the impedance is impedance sweep is sort of following the same as the other, but you can see all these ripply lines, and this is why I use an impedance measurement, because that will pick up the rubbing and buzzing as wiggly lines. It should be a nice smooth like the other one, and that's not. Well, that needs replacing, or I need to take it apart and see if I can do something with it. I think we'll take it apart. So it looks like someone's been inside this before. The surround little plastic bits were cracked, and normally there's like a continuous, it's almost like a sticky pad that runs around. You can see the black line all the way around, but I have blobs of glue. So it looks like someone's been in here before. Like I say, I'm sure these aren't original. Maybe someone's replaced them and they're not lined properly. So let's have a look and see. I think we got to take the risk. Well, yeah, it must be original. So looking at the voice coil, you see that okay? Yeah. It doesn't look heat damaged or anything like that. It looks very, very clean. So that's good. Let's carefully put this on something. Let me find something for it. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything in the pole piece. So it might just be an alignment problem. Right, let me get some paper. Okay, so positive was that way round. So I'm going to put this back together with the screws a little looser so I can move them around, and then yeah, we'll see what we can do. Yeah? Oh yeah. Okay, let's see what we can do. Actually a little bit better. We're getting better. Yeah. Really should do this with a test tone. It's not bad. It's not bad. most important piece of test equipment. Beautiful. Let's just see how we're looking on our impedance sweep now. Boom. That'll do. So the speaker I'm calling the right hand one, which is the one with the damaged mid, according to the literature, is actually the left hand speaker. I've got the original document, I'll put it in now. I think my client did say the left hand one, which would be this one, was dropped, and that would explain how this is all shifted out of alignment, but it wouldn't explain the incorrect phase connection, unless after that drop these were taken out, inspected, put back in and connected up incorrectly. I don't know. Right, let's try and put this back on. I have to be quite quick with this because I'm going to use hot glue. Right, that's bitten quite nicely. You can see it coming through, so that's good. Right. So the black plastic that was round here had just fallen to bits. So I'll tidy it up with some felt. Right, I think that's pretty good. There we go. Right, so I want to just for jokes, check these old L caps. I'll put the crossover schematic up. It doesn't have the values on it, but it's the original literature. So this speaker uses a second order low pass on our woofer circuit. Fairly simple. The mid-range has quite a bit of correction going on in it because I think it's quite a misbehaved driver. The tweeter circuit is a third order, but we have a capacitor with a resistor across the tweeter to take out a lump in the top, and that capacitor is controlled with that resistor, which is C9 and R1. There is one electrolytic in the critical path on the tweeter circuit, which is C8, which is an 8 microfarad. I replaced that with a polypropylene as well. So our tweeter circuit really cleans up. Like the other Dittons, if you start mucking around with polypropylene capacitors on the on the mid-range circuit, you do upset these. One day I would like to revoice them with those capacitors in use, but yeah, not today. So let's just see what we've got going on with the originals. Right, I used my trusty peak meter that I calibrated the other day. Okay, let's have a look at this 12 first. So this should be a 12. $13.5. So 1.2 would be 10%, so we're way above that. Well, I'll say way above it, a bit. Let's have a look at this one. So this should be a 4.7. $8.17. That's way out. Okay, it's getting on for double the value. So this should be 24. Uh, 29.7. Should be a 72. Call it 92. Yeah, God blimey. This should be a 30. $39. So what's that? 30% out. Here we've got an 8. I'm expecting this to be quite a higher value as well. Yeah, 9.1, which is probably explaining why we're peaking a little bit where we cross to the mid, because the tweeter with these values going higher is playing lower than it should, just by a little bit. Another 24. No, we've done that one. So we've got an 8. $9.2. So yeah, these are all pretty bad. What's this? Another 8. Yep. 9.14. Another 8. $9.33 and a 24. Blimey. Jeez, that's 70. That should be 24 microfarad and that is 70. Good Lord. Okay. Let's have a look at the other one as well. I'm sure some of these are newer. 12. 12.19. 4.7. 4.66. Yeah, I've got a feeling someone probably went through this and just replaced the values that were out. So we'll see. Which isn't good practice. Do them all. So it should be 72. 93.8. This should be 30. 33.6. This should be 8. I'm not testing the film caps, they'll probably be fine. They're just low quality. 8.7. What's this one? 8. 8.47. Another 8. 8.5. I think this is another 8, isn't it? Yep. 8.5. 24. Remember on the other one this was way out. Unbelievable. 26.5, and there's another 24 in the middle here. Come on, just do one more for me. 25.5. Yeah, so I can see why someone's picked through this and only replaced the outer tolerance caps. That one is unbelievable. Right, there we go. Right, I'm going to take the opportunity to order up a load of capacitors. I need a load for stock as well. We now have our fixed mid-range, which is good. Our other drivers are all good. I will clean those and service the rubbers with some conditioner. I'm going to rewire the crossovers as well and resistor bypass that fuse. Cabinets, I'm not doing anything cosmetic with these. So yeah, I'll do a part 2 where we put them back together, do some more measurements and make sure everything is good.